Let's start with something very simple. Your parents worked hard. They were not rich, but they felt safe. Rent was paid. Bills were boring. The future felt steady. They believed a basic rule. If you show up, if you work hard, life will mostly work back. That belief shaped decisions. Jobs were chosen. Homes were planned. Families felt possible. Now look at today. You work just as hard, often harder. More hours, more pressure, more responsibility. And yet, security feels fragile. One bill feels dangerous. One bad month feels heavy. The margin feels thin. This creates confusion. You did what you were told. You followed the rules. But the outcome feels smaller. Here is the key point. Hard work did not disappear. People still work. People still try. People still push forward. What disappeared was certainty. This is not about laziness. It is not about mindset. It is not about attitude. This feeling is not personal. It is structural. Something around hard work changed. Not loudly, not suddenly, quietly. The rules stayed familiar. The system underneath them shifted. When systems shift, old promises weaken. This story is not about blame. It is about understanding. We are asking one clear question. Why does hard work no longer guarantee security? To understand security today, we must first understand how systems quietly change. For a long time, hard work did what people expected. Not perfectly, but reliably. You worked, you earned, you planned. That planning mattered. It allowed people to think ahead. Next year looked like this year. Small improvements felt possible. This worked because the environment stayed stable. Jobs lasted longer. People stayed in one company for years. Careers moved slowly. That slowness protected effort. If you made a mistake, you had time to recover. If one year was bad, the next year usually balanced it out. Costs behaved the same way. Rent moved slowly. Energy prices were boring. Healthcare changed rarely. Nothing felt urgent. That calm allowed effort to compound. You did not need perfect decisions. You needed consistent ones. Hard work did not create wealth. It created predictability. Predictability created security. That was the deal. The system did not reward speed. It rewarded patience. People who showed up every day felt safer over time. The rules were clear. Work hard, stay employed, avoid big mistakes. Security followed. This is why older generations trusted the system, not because it was fair, but because it was stable. Stability hid risk. It spread shocks across time. It softened bad outcomes. People rarely noticed the protection because it was always there, like gravity. You do not think about it until it disappears. Understanding this past matters, because nothing feels broken unless you remember how it used to feel. Hard work once fit perfectly inside a stable environment. That environment no longer exists, and without it, effort behaves very differently. Then the system changed, not all at once, not loudly, quietly. The economy did not break, it restructured. The goal shifted from stability to efficiency. Efficiency sounds positive. It promises speed. It promises flexibility. It promises growth. But efficiency has a cost. It removes buffers. Buffers are slow. Buffers are expensive. Buffers protect people. When buffers disappear, risk has to move somewhere. It moved downward. Before, companies absorbed uncertainty. Bad years were shared. Losses were spread. Time softened mistakes. Now uncertainty sits with individuals. Contracts became shorter. Jobs became conditional. Performance became constant. Work did not end. Pressure increased. At the same time, costs stopped behaving. Rent began to adjust faster. Energy reacted instantly. Insurance changed quietly. Income stayed steady. Expenses became reactive. This broke the old balance. Planning became harder. Margins became thinner. Even good months felt unstable. Effort still mattered, but effort no longer controlled outcomes. Another change followed. Timing began to dominate effort. When you entered the job market, when you signed a lease, when interest rates shifted. Two people could work equally hard and end up in very different places. Not because one tried more, because one arrived earlier. Timing decided exposure. Effort reacted to it. This changed how people felt. Anxiety rose without failure. Stress appeared without collapse. People felt behind even when nothing went wrong. The system rewarded movement. Adapt quickly. Change often. Stay flexible. Standing still became risky. Consistency lost power. Hard work became maintenance. You worked to avoid falling, not to move ahead. This is why effort feels heavier now. It carries uncertainty with it. The system did not become cruel. It became optimized. Optimized systems do not pause. They adjust continuously, and continuous adjustment never feels secure. This matters because people blame themselves first. They work harder. They optimize routines. They cut rest. But the pressure remains. The system expects adjustment, not comfort. Every change is normalized. Every shock is priced in. Over time, people learn caution. They hesitate. They delay decisions, not from fear, from pattern recognition. When conditions move constantly, stability becomes temporary, and temporary stability never feels safe. This environment rewards awareness, not virtue, speed over patience, motion over grounding, and constant readiness over rest, leaving effort active but unprotected for long stretches of time for most people. Here is the turning point. Hard work was never the shield. The system around it was. When the system was stable, effort felt protected. Mistakes had room. Time absorbed shocks. When the system became flexible, protection faded. Nothing about people changed. The environment did. This explains a strange feeling many people share. They are doing fine. They are employed. They are productive. And still, they feel exposed. Success no longer locks conditions in place. It only buys time. Time before the next adjustment. Time before the next price change. Time before the next rule update. Security used to come from fixed terms. A lease that stayed. A rate that stayed. A role that stayed. Now everything is provisional. Terms expire. Prices reset. Expectations move. The system rewards those who adapt fastest, not those who endure longest. This reframes effort. Hard work no longer builds a wall. It builds momentum. Momentum feels good, but it does not stop shocks. This is why comparison feels painful. Two people work equally hard. One feels safe. One does not. The difference is not character, it is position inside change. Those who locked conditions earlier float. Those who arrived later absorb movement. Timing sets exposure. Effort reacts to it. This is not about fairness, it is about mechanics. Systems optimized for speed cannot guarantee stability. They guarantee adjustment. Once this is clear, blame shifts. Not outward, not inward. It dissolves. The feeling many people describe is not failure, it is misalignment. Hard work is still required, but it no longer guarantees security, because security was never the reward. Predictability was, and predictability no longer exists in the same way. Understanding this does not fix the system, but it explains why effort alone feels insufficient. Understanding this changes how you see effort, not as a failure, not as weakness, but as something operating in a different environment. Hard work still matters. It still creates value. It still keeps things moving. What changed is what it can promise. In the past, effort slowly turned into safety. Today, effort turns into motion. Motion keeps you active. It keeps you relevant. But it does not keep you still. That is why people feel tired even when things are going well. They are not collapsing. They are compensating. They are absorbing movement that used to be absorbed elsewhere. This is not a call to stop trying. It is not advice. It is an explanation. Security today is not something you earn once. It is something that is constantly renegotiated. And renegotiation is exhausting. When you see this clearly, one thing changes. You stop asking why effort feels unrewarded. You stop assuming something is wrong with you, because nothing is wrong with you. You are responding correctly to an unstable environment. The system expects adjustment, so people adjust. The system normalizes pressure, so pressure feels normal. This channel exists for one reason: to make those patterns visible, not to motivate, not to panic, but to explain. If this helped you see the system more clearly, stay here. We talk about work, we talk about money, we talk about systems, calmly, slowly, without blame. Understanding does not remove pressure, but it replaces confusion with clarity. And clarity is the first step to making sense of the world you are moving inside. It helps people think straighter, breathe easier, and recognize patterns without blaming themselves anymore at last. If this helped you see the system more clearly, stay here.